installment of I'd Rather Be. My focus this week is on improv. And I'm here at the humble house of my first improv teacher, Mr. Mike McFarland. Hello, Mike.
Hello.
I started doing improv 4 months ago in January, and the reason I wanted to get into it, one, I like making people laugh, and two, I like laughing. Three, I figured it can help with public speaking and just life in general. Mike, how about you just tell us about yourself? How long have you been doing improv, and maybe a little bit about improv in your own words?
I've been doing it for about 9 years with NCT, and I started almost in the exact same way you started. I just kind of wanted to get into it, so I showed up and I took some classes, and that kind of led me down this road that led to love, and love turned into this long relationship.
Cool.
I keep doing it just because it's a thing that never gets old for me. You know, I can do it all the time, and it's always different, and it's always fun, and you learn, kind of like you said, you learn a lot about yourself, and there's so many good life skills to learn from doing improv that it's really hard to stop once you start kind of tasting how much your life can improve by doing it. It's hard to not do.
What's the basic premise of improv? Because a lot of people probably get confused with like stand-up comedy.
Yeah, so improv differs from stand-up in a couple of ways. Usually it's done with a group of people. So there are some people that attempt to do improv by themselves, but it's really hard, and it's not that good. No, it's not. But so the idea is you get on stage with a group of improvisers, and working together, you kind of build a story from scratch. So usually, depending on the type of improv, you usually get a suggestion from the audience. They kind of tell you, they give you an idea, and from that idea, the improvisers just kind of go. And as they go, they create things, and they discover things that each other have created, and then all together it kind of forms this neat story that is pretty unique. Usually it's something that no one really expects. The neat thing about improv is that the process of learning how to do it is really just unlearning a bunch of like bad habits that we get as adults. So as you grow up, you come up with all these inhibitions that kind of make you second guess all your natural reactions. And good improvisers, they learn to kind of shut those off. The reason that it looks so smooth and so easy if good improvisers are on stage is because they're really not thinking and they're not filtering. We might have the idea of, let's do this silly French accent that we're not good at. Normally in life, we might shut that impulse down. But on stage, we just kind of go with it, which is why it seems so organic and fun, because it's just like kids. If you watch kids play, the same thing happens. You know, they just kind of, they do the most like unexpected stuff, because they don't shut themselves down. The basic underlying idea that makes improv work is a real super simple concept, which we teach everyone pretty much first day of class, which is yes and. Yes and pretty much says whatever Gary does on stage, I'm going to agree with it. So if he says that we're in a helicopter and the helicopter is crashing, then I'm just going to pretend that he's 100% right. If I tell him that we're not in a helicopter and he's going crazy, then it doesn't seem like a real story, because that doesn't happen in movies. People in movies don't say we're doing one thing and someone else denies it. And that's what holds everything together, is the idea that we're always agreeing with one another. So as long as two people are trained in how to do that, you can get together with someone who's never performed with you before, you can just kind of do it. It's like its own little language.
That brings me to the first game that we should play together,
okay.
Called Yes and. Essentially, it's like an interview between two people. The first person will throw out something. So I might say to Mike, Mike, I hear you're an expert at cinematography, and the whole purpose is Mike is going to agree, and he's going to add something on top of it. So let's start.
Okay. Yeah. So Gary, I understand that you've built a brand new type of piano. It's going to change the world.
Yes, and that piano not only is going to change the world, it's going to help young babies grow up faster.
And I understand that there's been some controversy, because some people say that babies shouldn't grow up faster than they've always grown up.
Very true, and my point to that is, hey, we're all going to die someday, so let's speed up the process.
And I understand that you've actually started a corporation that is making money on kids that are going through puberty and getting to adulthood a little bit faster.
Very true, and my company focuses on acne products and things just to help them get through that awkward stage. So if they grow up faster, then I will make more money.
Nice. And I understand because these kids are learning music at such a young age, we're actually finding a lot of prodigies where we didn't find prodigies before.
Very true. In fact, there's a young man who He's gone through this program. He's only, in real terms, he's only 2 weeks old, but he's actually about 12, and he can play piano better than anyone else I know.
Yeah, Jimmy Martinez, right? Jimmy Martinez.
Very true.
Yeah, Jimmy Martinez was on Oprah the other day, and that kid is amazing, amazing. And here's what I thought he'd be grateful, but he actually has a problem with you. He says you've robbed his toddlerhood.
Very true. In fact, I don't think he knows how to walk truly yet. He crawls, and so I think that's one of the reasons. And he talks with the list. How have improv itself just helped you with life?
Oh, it's so good. It gives you a lot of confidence. Because improv requires you to get on stage and perform, usually in front of an audience, usually a big audience, without any real idea of what's going to happen. Once you experience that it's okay, and once you're up there, the world doesn't fall apart. It gives you a lot of confidence because you start to realize that everything else in life becomes easier. You can do better at the job interview because you understand even if you don't answer the question perfectly, things will be okay. You can ask strangers out on dates because even if things don't go well, like the world doesn't end. The advantage of doing improv is you just become more comfortable with life's randomness.
All right, well, that's pretty much it. That's all the time we have. Thanks, Mike, for spending your afternoon playing with me. That sounds kind of odd.
No, it's but camera only sees so much.
Yeah, exactly. But one last question. So, if someone is interested in getting, into improv, how do you suggest they start?
I would suggest you take some classes. So, if you're out there and you think improv is cool, I've seen it. I haven't seen it, but Gary has seen it, and we love Gary. But wherever you live, look in your city for a theater or a group that does improv, and find the most reputable one you can. In my experience, the most valuable ones are really ones that are taught kind of at an established theater, professional level. You can't really go wrong with those.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. This was another episode of I'd Rather Be. If you liked it, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. If you didn't like it, say la vie. All right, well, this is Gary, and I'm out of here.